right. Motherhoodsexmarijuana.com. New logo, new things. Don't forget to come and check us out at motherhoodsexmarijuana.com. Go to our featured products. Yes, check out our $20 one click called A Valentine to My Body. Make sure you get yourself a copy of that book. And of course, to continue to support us, go to shop.spreadshirt.com/MSM gear. New things, new logo, new things to come through and support. Motherhoodsexmarijuana.com. I am Kai Storm. This is season 3. Be in the building, G. Oh, all right. Well, look at here. Look at here.
Oh, we early.
Wait a minute. What is this? Our hair is straight or whatever. Wait a minute.
Girl, no, our hair is not straight. I borrowed this from my daughter. So thank you, daughter, for providing this wig for today's podcast.
Oh, okay, cool. Girl, who is this woman? I don't know her. I don't even know her.
Robin.
Yes, Robin, how you doing? Motherhood Sex
Marijuana.
Motherfucking building.
Yes.
What a treat. We got this amazing woman over here. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm going to shut up for a minute and we're going to let Robin introduce herself and what she does.
Wow.
And thank you for being here, Robin.
You're welcome. Don't you hate when people ask you to introduce yourself? You decide what self you want to introduce. So if anything, I would call me a solutionist. I have always been a creative person, and I've learned that whether it was in design, solving problems, creating new ideas, I'm a solution. Now in corporate America, I work as an IT manager over software, but for myself and in the world, all around solutionist, pretty much anything. That's
I love that.
Intro.
Well, shit, let's be more specific because because obviously you know Ruby, but you just meeting me. I'm Kai Storm, the other half of Motherhood Sex Marijuana.
What up?
What kind of solutions can you create? Because my first problem is, I got these bills. These motherfuckers that they. No, these motherfuckers, they keep showing the fuck up. Okay? They keep showing up. They keep asking for shit. I don't want to give it to them. So if you got a solution.
Do I can, you know what? Make the bills work for you. How about that? Find a way to leverage. So you wouldn't feel so bad about it if the 100 whatever you was paying every month was something that actually made you money more later. So figure out how to leverage it to make more money. Then you're not paying bills, then you just take care
get
of
paid.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You know what? I'm so grateful that we have this space. We created this idea came to mind, I'd say a couple of years ago, sitting in my apartment. And at the moment, it was like pre-COVID. So it was just like, wow, the idea to start a podcast just made absolute sense in the world. And then even more so with COVID, I would say, during that whole situation, or during the situation that we're currently living in. And I think what I appreciate the most is that it's a safe space where we can be ourselves, minus my fake ass wig. My bad. I'm just trying to style on y'all a little bit.
But you're doing it though. So we appreciate it.
Thank you. And I just appreciate authenticity, as I'm sure you both do too. And actually, Queen, I don't know Robin very well. We were introduced by somebody very important, and she, I have yet to discover more about her. So we're all in this together. I know what I can tell you. This is what I heard about Robin. Number one, she's a Leo, so she doesn't mind telling y'all how amazing she is, which I love. She is very much a solutionist. She has a heart of gold. She is an entrepreneur and a successful businesswoman above everything. And she's a creator. I heard this woman can cook her ass off. So I just want to hear more about that. And I have some questions about your journey with regards to the tech game, because it's so huge, right? I can't even wrap my head around all of the little subcategories and everything that has to do, but we are so grateful for you, because it takes big balls to be in a big industry like tech. You know what I'm saying? And to really run the show. Come on now. And we are celebrating Black women. I am a fan of you all. So, and what, Kai, do you have any questions? Because I can just go on and on and on.
Let's go.
Well, yes, definitely, honey. Shoot. I mean, first thing we need to talk about is, you know, your business. Like, what business are you providing to the people, and how can we support?
How can we support? So business, this is interesting. I'm gonna give a story behind it. So you would hear me say that I'm a consultant for just about anything. Why? Because when I got into entrepreneurship, I got into it on the design side. Logos, websites, marketing, branding, social media, before it became what it is today, you know, all of those things. What I realized is, because I like to create, I always jump at opportunities to create. So if a friend is like, yo, I'm creating a play, I need you to help. Okay, I become a set designer. If a friend is like, listen, I'm trying to do a tour, I need some help. Okay, what you need me to be a project manager, come up with the dates? What I've learned is that I take any opportunity to be a solutionist and be creative, whether it's helping create a show, whether it's helping create a platform, whether it's a logo, launching a business. It's pretty much anything. But in particularly, if we talk about passions, it's definitely websites, logos, but more so building brands, because I think a lot of people just go get a logo and a website and think they're doing something. But with how today is in social media, it is so important that you create a persona. Now, a persona could be a reflection of you. It could be a reflection of whatever it is, but you have to create it nowadays. And so I'm really passionate about that. And being a home designer, I used to say interior designer, but now recently just been working on some projects, designing the renos from homes and floor plans. So now I'm really like, okay, let's go hard on this real estate part. Yeah, let me be the Black Joanna Gaines. Well, no, let me create my own space. Let me be, you know, the project chick, you know, and just whatever you need. So that's where I'm pretty much at now. Pretty design, interior. And if I consult, it's really just helping build businesses. I've helped tons of friends and people. I really have helped build a lot of businesses. So that's always a passion too.
That is awesome. And first of all, not only is it awesome because it's very much needed based on the you know, new life that we're living. A lot of, you know, companies, even the smallest to the biggest companies, they all have websites, they all have social media page or pages, and you know what I mean. And like you said, in order to make it through, you know, this big World Wide Web, you do have to have a personality, you have to have a niche, you have to have something special that people come and check you out in the first place. Now, my next question to you is, how did you even, you know, decide that this was your path? Because in order for you to, because it sounds to me like you are like you wear a lot of hats and you have a lot of skills within those hats. So how did you even get to the path where you decided that, okay, this is what I want to do, and this is what I can do, and this is what I know how to do now?
Oh, this is such a good question too. Because I did not start out actually, you know, kudos to my parents. Let me just throw this in, is that as children, they provided us resources that help us discover our passions. It really kind of starts there, creating an atmosphere. And sometimes it's, even if you don't have children, it's you being an auntie or it's the kids that you know, but creating an atmosphere channel where youth can discover passion. So that's where it really started. So even from a kid, I was introduced to computer. Our father made sure we had computers. And so from there, I was creating greeting cards, you know, at like 9 and 10 on Mavis, you know, all these other printmaker and print shop type of things. And I think from there is where it truly started. Now, the funny thing is that I didn't know when I was coming up, you couldn't go to school and be a designer per se. It was how you had to go into computer science. So there was no graphic arts. So I actually went to school for computer science, did 3 years and was like, yeah, I can't do the zeros and ones. I can't. So I switched from doing back end to front end. So went to school for that. And since I changed my major, a second semester junior, you all know what that did. It put more time. So it added like 1.5 years of school. And I was about to graduate, and Lord, not talking about, but you know, getting to HBCUs is easy. Sometimes getting out is hard. And so I was told in my second semester that I got a D in Spanish 2 and needed a C. So I just was like, I can't do another year here. I took a semester off and actually moved into my first home then. But that one semester turned into 7 years. Now, in those 7 years, what did I do? Worked part-time at a TV station and started my own business, and then started another business. Well, joined another business and became partner with my friends. Yes. So this all started because I always had a passion to make things look good, usable, pleasant, presented experience. And I'm gonna use that word again, to people. And so that kind of transition, it was like, okay, came out of school, you know, became a designer, was, you know, helping businesses build portfolio, their whole branding packages and all that. And then I went to a business with a friend. We did that for about a couple of years. Even got to the point where I think we were like the top 30 web design firms in our town at that time. And we definitely were grossing over $1 million.
Nice.
And then, it happened. Reality kind of sets in because we are who we are. And the city came after us, right? And this is when I learned so true. Well, I'm jumping all over the place, but it's good stories.
You're fine. You're good.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. But this is when I found out that a lie can destroy you the same as the truth. So what happened is we were working, I'm not even going to tell you what city, I'm going to keep that off the record, but we were working for the city of a particular town, right? And so we had the ability to do that city site. So basically that city dot whatever, insert. And so we were working on that. They had some organizational changes. We got to the point where it produced about thousands of dollar website, ready, boom, we good, hand it off. They're like, okay, they're going through management changes. And then a new person comes in and they're like, well, the site doesn't work. You need to fix it. No, the site worked before we handed it over to you. We offered to set it in, but you said no. Well, it's not working. And we went back and forth. They even tried to sue us and say we infringed of our contract. Oh, but thank God someone taught us Black young folk how to write solid contracts. And that is because we were sued before. So we tightened up our contract. So they tried to come after us. Our contract was like, nope, we valid, everything was good. And so that left bad blood. We wake up a couple weeks later to a blog post that said, the other partner of our company, I'll leave his name, let's call him John. John knows the Black commissioner of this town. That's why he got this project. We looked at this and was like, wow, that's really wrong. They don't even know each other. They just happen to go to the same college. And one guy was like 50, friend was 23. They didn't go to college at the same time. It was a reach. Ignored it. Woke up 3 days later and it made the front page news of our city. And so here we are, I think we're like about 24, 25 at this time, realizing that we've made the local news, basically the triad, like the next 3 cities over, we've been blasted everywhere over a lie. And so now we had to actually buy PR. We had to figure this out, put a statement out. And then after they came after us, then it was like, oh, they did wrong on the website. So now they're trying to say we messed it up. So that's when we released the contract and released everything so everyone can see all the files. it quickly came to a hush and we realized that the whole story was a lie.
Yeah.
But I told that story to say that, you know, I've been a lot of places, and I think that I've learned, you know, even though so after that happened as a company, we basically were blackballed in the city. So we actually had to change our whole concept. We started to go globally and we started to get bigger contracts. But there came a point in our life where we really were a slave to the business. And I think that's the part nobody talks about, being an entrepreneur. And I know I'm running all over the place here, but it's like, you know, you start a business so hard because I'm my own boss, I run my own time. But what happens when you're up to 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 mornings in a row, and then one night you spend and you're doing all of this, but you're a slave to your business? Meaning if I don't work, I don't eat. You're trading time for money, and it's the same as you working for anyone else. But, you know, we say we work for ourselves. But after that happened, we got a point to where we just really burnt out. And nobody talks about that as well as an entrepreneur, that sometimes if you don't put the right structure in place and don't plan for growth, when you have growth, it can actually be overwhelming and overtake you. And we had just got to the point, my friend at that time, he was about to get married, and he was like, listen, it's time for us to roll this up. So we rolled up the dream, sold off what we had to sell off, and came away from business, and basically gave up a business that was grossing $1 million. But you know, there were years that we didn't keep more than 40,000 altogether.
Right.
Because we were making that much money, no one really taught us about operating costs, and then just cross the grow, marketing, having a lawyer, having to hire a PR firm, you know, all those things. And it's just like, woo. And at that point, we're just like, hey, and by the way, we're only 25, 26 at this time. We were like, would you want to go back to corporate America? Yeah, I'm gonna trade this life in right now for 2 weeks of PTO. And so that's when I came out of creative and got my first job in corporate America, making really good money. And it was because I went over as a senior project manager. So I was a senior project manager by 27, but I was able to take all those experiences from a business, craft a good resume, because it's all about the words. You got to write a story.
Indeed, honey.
Write a story, because listen, you got to learn when to fluff, don't lie, but you got to write a story, because it's the resume to tell the story for you. Wrote a good resume and got in with the help of a friend and got in. So I'm gonna take a real pause here because I don't want to tell my whole story, but how did I get there? That's just one half of it. And you hear how I went from owning my own to corporate America, and I'm not 26 now. And so there's a whole nother journey that I did of corporate America, and then getting to the point where I realized that my passion was really to be creative. So I came out of project management. I was like, I got to go back to design. So that's when I went back to corporate design. Worked at Wells Fargo, worked at Bank of America. I even helped create the Bank of America mobile app for like the 2 years I was there. Now, so I did that for a while. And then I kind of got back to where I was at again, because it was like, oh yeah, I could do websites. That's easy. I can make 800 to 2,000 real quick on a website, do it for somebody. But I had gotten to the point where I realized that I no longer desired to have to touch something to be able to create, because that's when you kind of be a slave to it. It's like, oh, got this great idea, let's go in, do the plan. And then you're like, I actually got to work this out. Okay, I really got to make this website work or make this logo work. And that's when I started realizing that if I was going to get back into this game again, and this is a life lesson here, is that I can't trade time for money. Meaning if I put an hour's work in, I need to learn to figure out how that hour can pay me for 3, 4, and 5. Because if not, I'm not getting younger. And if I got to give an hour and only get paid an hour, I'm trading time for money. I'm not really making money. You got to figure out how to leverage that time. And so that's kind of how I got into the point now of consulting, where I realized it was like, you know, my experience in life have taught me a couple of things. How can I leverage what I know to others and begin how to build around that? So, and I also realized too, and this is how I got into all these creative things is, and I'll give that, is that my desire to be creative extended to everything. It extended to music, because I didn't even talk about this, but I actually DJ on the side too. One of my other passions. Used to, you can see it. I used to play a little bit too.
Yeah, I did.
And then I think after, and it was like, it's like in my mind, and this is something I would want to tell women, young people, is like, I think sometimes you're afraid to say, I want to do this, and this. Because a lot of times I think old school would say, no, okay, no, you can't be a lawyer, doctor, da, 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 da. You can't be this and this and this. And that's not true. because I think even as a young person, I'm always like, yeah, you know, because even now, I want to own a food truck. No, excuse me. I am going to own a food truck before I pass on this earth, right?
Yes.
I just want to do it. I want to do an event business and be able to throw events. And so I realized that anything you want to do, you do it. I don't think it's about, well, yeah, I can design a logo, but I also can design a business. I also can design platforms. I can also design, it doesn't even matter. So that kind of is what extended into my love of food. I had a godfather who, this man could cook. That's the first time I've ever seen, you know, all piece of my dad. My dad was not a cook, besides the soft runny eggs and the bacon, the crispy bacon and the toast with the jelly. That was pretty much what he cooked, but really had a passion for food. And I learned that the same way I love to be creative, it extended to food, because I see food on a plate as a finished piece of art. And then I basically back my way through it. So it's like, oh, I want some chicken. Ooh, it's gotta have an orange color. What happens if the rice was green? Or maybe I did quinoa. Oh, let's put some spinach. I'm thinking about the picture of the plate. And so I usually work my way backwards. And I'm like, okay. What am I gonna do to this rice? And that's how I've learned to be creative and everything. And I know I'm doing a lot of talking about it. That's why it's a podcast. But I think something else that I've learned too is that, and I think I just learned this 3 years ago, is that, you know, embrace all of your passions.
Word.
So I think, you know,
I heard that.
I try to tell you, you know, you can't love to do this and this and this and this and this. And it's like, no, do it all. And I think a lot of times when you're young, you can't see forth that long. It's like, well, I want to do this and I want to do that. Okay, do both. Figure out which one you want to hit first and which path you can go, because there's always, it's like chess, there's always small little moves and pieces. So it's like, yeah, you know, like say for instance, I'm getting into, you know, house designing. That happened because I love to do interior design. So I always have friends that are walking in and out. Somebody walked in and was like, man, this looks good. You know, I'm trying to flip a house right now. Can you do this and this? Of course I can. Let me just work that through. Well, you know, understanding like, well, this is how much I'm gonna charge per hour. And it started there. So I think it's like, you know, don't be afraid to embrace every passion. You know, I think there's like the whole TikTok trend about the jack of all trades is an ace of none, but there's this thing that says that's actually not how the quote goes. It's about being a jack of all trades and a master is none. It's better to be a jack of one than to master of none. I said, well, dang. So basically, it's better for you to know a little bit about these things than to know a lot about one. What? Yeah. I have learned in life, my father was one to always instill in us to research, gather, and ascertain something. You want to do something, research, figure it out. He was always that type of person. And so it's like everything that I wanted to do, I was like, I remember maybe for like a year and a half, no, maybe like 9 months. I had a cupcake business and I did cupcakes and candy pops.
Oh.
Yeah, I designed a cake for a friend one time and it was like a 3-layer ninja cake and it was all fly, nice for my little nephew. And she was like, oh, and then I did someone else's and then I did somebody's anniversary cake. And then it was just like, and then after 9 months, I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't have the passion for baking. It's a science. You can't add a little bit of this. If something's off, you add a little bit of this, the whole thing will be off.
The whole thing is all fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, this is fun. I did it for a while. I had some pretty good opportunities. And this was fun. On to the next thing. I'm pretty much, I'm done with this. So I think I've never been afraid to just try something for a while and experience it and just keep on going. Because I also realized that you never know on that path who you might meet. You know, so.
Exactly. Yo, one thing I am definitely learning about this conversation is that you, first of all, you are definitely not afraid of a motherfucking thing. You like, what? Let's see what it is and see if I can get into it. If I can get into it, I can get into it. And if not, I can't. Fuck it.
Right.
And that's a good attitude to have on anything.
Absolutely.
And then the main thing, and then another thing I learned that is literally essential to this podcast is that, yes, you know what I'm saying, as you getting bigger, you know, things will jump into the mix and the bowl that you are creating, but you gotta also have you know what I'm saying, not only is the things that's jumping in, that they gotta also be paying you more than the time that you putting into it. Like, ain't no way you putting in the time and you getting back the same payment for the time. You need to be getting more for that payment. And if everything is starting to grow, you gotta add, you know what I'm saying, you gotta be able to be ready to add other people, add other, you know what I'm saying, situations in order to accomplish what you want to do, because you can't do it all by yourself. When you doing it all by yourself, you literally you putting more work in that if you was at a 9 to 5. And I be seeing them reels all the time where it says, yeah, I work for myself because I didn't want to work for somebody else for 9 to 5, and now I'm working all day and all night. You know what I'm saying? And I get that. But to me, at the same time, I say to myself, I say, you know, when you doing something for yourself, it's not really work, because you love what you're doing. So you're not, you know what I'm saying? It's not like when you at a 9 to 5 and you doing something for somebody else and they appreciate you by giving you whatever kind of paycheck they giving you. This is something that you putting in, and whatever, you know, whatever grows from this plant that you're growing, you know what I mean, you're going to benefit from it. So you don't see it as work. You feel me? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let me refer to this. Oh, go ahead, Ruby.
Oh, no, I was just going to comment. The way that you reverse engineer everything is quite remarkable. It says and speaks a lot to how your brain works. I think I love the way the engineers work. I try to get my brain to do something of that nature. And at times it does work for me, but I do also understand the way that I learn, and I learn differently, and that's fine. But I just wanted to say thank you for being so transparent.
No doubt.
Thank you, because life is just that, just the way the ups and the downs of the business goes. It's not always, dude, I can't wait to break $100,000 in my business. That's my goal for right now. And those little marks, those goals that we make for ourselves are personal goals that we know that we can accomplish based on our ability to do such things. And once that happens, we're going to move the goalposts differently. You know what I'm saying? That's all it's about. So thank you for that. Really, this is a great conversation.
No, man, it's good. Of course. I appreciate y'all.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, we're not afraid to, you know what I mean, to, as far as like when you said, you know, reach out to other people for help. Because right now, I mean, we're small. We got 2 brand ambassadors, and that was one of our ways to, you know, reach out and get, you know, marketing outside of what we're doing. You know what I mean? And each step that we as we grow, if we need somebody else for that, we'll definitely, you know, look out and get things for that. Because at the end of the day, it's not an I situation, it's a team. And as long as the team is working towards the goal, we all, you know what I mean, we all gonna benefit. So I love that you said that. And I also love that you also went back to, you know, corporate world, because at the end of the day, you took your experiences and was able to not only get in, because you know what I mean, sometimes you know, you not necessarily lie, but you gotta fidge a little in a resume to help tell the story, because at the end of the day, all you doing is selling a story to the person that's buying, and if they buy, the fuck, you know what I mean?
Yo, let me give a little jewel too. It's so funny because people have often said, I'm about to give a little juice here. This is probably something I would tell people probably for consulting, but I am a great interviewer. I've been told by several companies this, and it's because, and kudos to one of my friends, it's the art of interviewing. And just 2 jewels of the art of interviewing. One is tell a story. I often tell
not for nothing, not to cut you off, but me too. I get that story all the time too. Because best believe I get in with a good story and a nice smile.
You gotta tell it right. And so here's one of the things that I've also realized is like in just one jewel. So when they always ask you an interview, tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, a lot of times people will do that and they'll do it in like 90 seconds and read what's on the resume. No, don't do that. Here's the jewel. The jewel is to tell a story, right? So if I ever told you about my story, and I'm in corporate America, because there are shifts in my career and there are some gaps, you just explain it through and say, well, you know, went to corporate America, started as a PM, did PMing, learned a lot about structure. One, I'm about to tell you all the things I know how to do. Repeat the story. So I learned about structure. I learned about how to do this. I learned about how to do that. Now, always admit your fault. It's like, you know, I've made a lot of mistakes. You know, I also learned about how to do things on time. And I learned about how to make sure I put these things in place so I am now telling the story, told what I did wrong, but I'm showing what I learned. So it's always looked good. And it's like, and you know, I remember, and then here you go into a story. I remember this one time. So now tell that story and refer back to those qualities. You take about 4 minutes, 5 minutes in interview, and it sounds hard because you're talking a lot. But when they say tell you a little bit about yourself, take 5 minutes and talk about the resume, but tell it in a story form. Most times with 75% of the interviewers, give or take, you are going to take away that first layer of fluff questions. Now the interview becomes about, oh, okay, I like this. Either they're going to like it or they don't. But if they like it, it's like, okay, now in their mind, they're trying to put you in that position and kind of move past it, because now they move past the fluff. Now they're trying to figure out, okay, let's test their knowledge a little bit more. So tell me another story. Or now they're like, okay, so in this position, you would do this. Like, how would you handle this? They're already putting you in the position. So tell the story. And it's hard sometimes as
I get it. I
tell
absolutely
that story.
get it.
Tell the story.
It's definitely a technique that I use on a regular basis, because I recently had to be interviewing all over the place. Yep. And yes, telling a story, and definitely, you know, one of the techniques I use is dropping a tidbit of personal, where you know what I'm saying, where and the personal is like a kind of feel hard story, like you know what I mean, like when I came back to, because I live in New York, and when I so when I interview, I basically tell them that, yo, yes, I moved back here to take care of my dad, you know, because my dad lives by himself. Ooh. Yeah,
man. Insert the personal,
and he's, you know, and he had some health issues, and you know, and I'm like, you know, so immediately that says, oh, you picked up your whole life for your family. That's awesome. We like you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. I have been on the side of being interviewed, but I've also hired folks as well. And one thing I'm always, because a lot of times being technical and understanding if you can do this, that's really probably half of it. The other half is figuring out, can you work on this team? Can you take instruction? Can you work with your person? And you're trying to move past that part and just say, okay, so, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. And you want to hear about how someone learns, how they're tenacious and how they stick to it. So no, the personal, that's keys and gold right there. You know what I'm saying? Like the keys, the bricks, that's key.
Definitely. And I would imagine, you know, they're hearing the same bullshit. I'm a hard worker. I pay attention to detail and all the other shit that you're reading off of or copied off of the internet to put in your shit. So like the story thing, obviously, that makes absolute sense of the world. That's a psychological thing. You get close to somebody by telling them a story. You break down those walls. And so it totally makes sense. There's a lot of psychology that goes in like dealing with people, period. Speaking about people, who is the lucky motherfucker or the person that has your attention? I gotta know, Robert. I got to know. Because I'm like,
please be forewarned that Miss Ruby is about to get all in your pum pum business. All in your pum pum business.
Listen, man, share my pum pum. Look, but do you know who really has my attention? I'm so dead ass on this. Me.
That's right.
I'm dead ass. So I lost my dad last year, May, and was in a relationship then. You know, had been in relationships before. And it rocked my world because, oh, wow, man, I'm telling a lot about myself here. But, you know, when I lost my dad, I pretty much damn near lost my mind. You know, I slipped into depression, just was having a whole lot of issues with anxiety. Never had them in my life. You know, I couldn't sit at work and focus. I couldn't sleep at night. I was going days without sleeping. And one, I had to acknowledge as a Black person, I need help and I need something that's going to help. Because I know a lot of times in our culture, we don't talk about mental health issues, but I knew enough to be able to say, stop, pause, something's not right. I knew something wasn't clicking and something was off. I need to get some help. And I got some help and was able to use that as I also went to get therapy to kind of help me move along. But in that time and going through therapy, here's what I learned. I learned that there's 3 types of people. One, that in situations they freeze. They don't know what to do. They get stuck, can't move. Or ones that get absolutely angry and infuriated. They just go off. They're mad all the time. Then you got the one we don't talk about a lot. And I think a lot of us are this, the worker bee. You work, you do something and you constantly distracting yourself. Yeah. I realized that my whole life, since I can remember, now this is the hard part, my success was due to my coping mechanism of always working. That's the reason why I have become so creative and why I do so many things, is because in my mind, and not right now, that's I was like, oh, it gets gooder. In my mind, it was like, oh, okay, because I never, being transparent, really acknowledge my successes because they didn't seem like success to me, because I was always trying to move 2-3 steps ahead and I was always working. It was like, okay, now I got to do this. And so I've never took time to acknowledge my successes. And I just became a person that really worked. But when that happened, I had to realize like, oh my God, something's not right. And then you start also realizing like, you know what, this might be the reason why I've had problems in this relationship and this relationship. And then, oh my goodness, I really have to work on how I love myself. I don't love myself. I will fall on the sword for everyone else. And I realized in that situation that in helping everyone else, one, I never taught myself how to ask for help. And 2, I had never learned how to take help because I was always being the helper. And so once I learned that in my life, I was like, you know what? It might be good for me to be by myself for a little bit and really work on myself, because I found in relationships, I was always doing so much for the other person, not even feeling like I was losing myself because it was so normal for me to do it. But I realized that my natural inclination to be a helper, a giver, a fixer, it went across to everything. And I did that beyond when it was healthy for me. And I think women naturally are nurturers. We're naturally, we bring life. And so we create, we bring order. There's so many things that we bring naturally as who we are. And, even if, and this is so funny, like, even if you're the mindset, I don't know how to say this in a positive way, but it's like, even if you have the mindset, I'm gonna do me, very, even if you're in a mindset where you're very alpha female, a lot of times in a relationship, and nothing wrong with that, by the way, we can talk about that later. And you realize like, whatever, the funny part is like, we could be that, but to the core, we're still that type of person. And as much as we trying to make sure we do our thing and be on, I was like, nah, you ain't gonna play me. I'm gonna be that ultimate player. I ain't never get played because I was 5 steps ahead. Even in all of that, we naturally
your feelings will get you to exactly
right. You know what I'm saying? Like
feelings will show up and be like, girl, call him.
Right. Yeah, right.
Him.
Exactly. And I realized
I know you mad, but suck his dick. I know you mad.
Yeah, like
it
do be like that sometimes, like, because we really do. We are sometimes we be on our shit for some reason, but it's naturally a part of who we are. Guys do the same, and girls, and sometimes it takes yourself to be like, get over yourself, and you can't be in control of everything. Let go. That's your problem. This is me talking to myself. You need to learn to let go. You can't touch everything and You're right. And so no man's taking my interest right now. I got a couple people that my favorite word is I am intrigued by. Few people that have intrigued me. But right now,
intrigued now.
I like that word.
They on the waiting list.
Exactly.
Ain't nobody hired yet.
You haven't like captured my attention.
They've been on interviews.
But
we've had interviews, but with nobody's the finalist. Nobody.
We have not even moved to the panel interview yet. So there's some that have
and that's fine.
I haven't checked references yet.
But I promised myself that I would be the best version of myself and learn to love myself. Actually, my thing for this year is love myself how I love others. Oh man, I love others.
I love that.
I give others room for failure and room for like, listen, it's okay for I don't even give that to my own self. Gosh, man, I don't give myself room to fail, or room to make mistakes, or room to have space and sit down and take some time for yourself. Be the first one to tell friends, listen, you need to take time for yourself. Let's go on a girl trip. Let's take some time for yourself. But I don't say that to me. I don't always do that. So this has definitely been a year of self-care and learning that, you know, and it's hard. Sometimes, you know, you want to be in a relationship, and like you want to be booed up, and you want to be cuffed and cuddled, cuffing. Yeah, you want to be cuffed and cuddled, but you know, I gotta tell myself the discipline, like, I can't want that without making sure I'm the best version of myself, because I want to be able to be in a relationship and not, you know, give of myself, not knowing, making myself smaller. Because that'll be a problem. That's going to be a problem further down.
That's self-awareness. That's oh, this is so dope.
I'm telling you, man.
Motherhood, sex, marijuana is doing
in
the building with Robin, the creative, and the solutionist. Yes, the great visionary, the awesome, amazing goddess.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. First of all, like I said, you are dropping jewels. You are giving us, you know, words of encouragement and words that we need in our steps, in our $1 million steps. Because one thing we've been saying, and I started saying, because I don't know if you ever heard of Pretty V. Pretty V, she's a comedian or
influencer, yeah.
And she's on Wild 'N Out and whatever. But she did this video.
Yes,
Pretty V, right? So she did this video at the beginning of the year where she was just like, yo, we're walking in our $1 million year. Ain't no distractions in our way. Distractions to the side. The fuck out of here. And since I heard that, I've been saying that we this is our $1 million year. We walking into it. Fuck that. And the jewels that you have dropped on this show is those
invaluable.
Are part of the steps. So we absolutely are glad to hear about them. So yes, now we getting back to the spiciness where you know.
I got a question.
You know what I mean? We already said that, you know what I mean? We're gonna be the best version of us.
Okay.
The best version of us before we get with anybody.
God, please. Yeah.
But of course, one of the things we talk about is, you know, when we are getting with bodies, what are we getting with? Do we like dicks? Do we like pussy? Do we, you know what I mean? Are we variety like, you know, are we flowing over here? I'm flowing over there. I'm flowing over there. I mean, what are we doing in these things? What are we doing?
I fucks with the dicks. I have no disrespect against anybody that fucks, but I fucks with the dicks. I really do.
Indeed.
I'm a carnivore. We're carnivores.
I say this like, but I could love anyone. I could love anyone, but I fucks with
no
dicks.
doubt. No doubt.
I feel you. Dicks is my shit. Though. That's my shit. I feel you.
Robin, you got a sex tape out there somewhere that nobody knows about?
So let me tell you something here. You talk about my paranoia about being on a sex tape. Like
I would think so, right?
No, I feel like in my mind one day I'm going to be at the point where that sex tape could not come out. So I have always, now this is crazy, if I ever really become something, like I have always lived my life like they're never going to find a sex tape of me.
Oh my God.
This is kind of why I don't like going to dudes' houses, because in my mind, there could be like a camera behind the joint and it's taping me. And 15 years down the road, I'm gonna become big, and then this dude gonna come out with the sex tape. So
that's the same shit I was thinking.
We don't let them pull out the cell phone at all.
No, I'm saying no. Oh, what? I need to see that joint up now.
Hey, baby, let me just catch. Hold on, baby, let me just catch that last move. That last move.
We put in all our phones on the dresser across on the other side of the room.
Signing NDAs and everything.
I'm so paranoid. Like, I'm so paranoid about that. I'd be like, that's why I rarely, like, I gotta really know you to go to your house and do anything related. Anytime you gotta come over to my house, because I be paranoid, right? That's why I never like have a one night stand with a dude at a hotel, because I'm like, nah, nigga, you got your phone in the room. I know it, like, because he's trying to make a sex tape of me. That's what this is about. He's like trying to catch me in a sex tape. You know what I'm saying? Early game, man, and then he gonna release it and try to Kobe Bryant me. No.
Oh man.
Well, we would just have to sell it before they do.
Yeah, but you know what? I spin the heck out of that thing. I figured out how to spin it. That's it. Yo, I'm a Kardashian. If I lose my other career, I'm gonna have to create the side money. So I'm gonna have to flip this shit like him. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yo, I gotta tell a funny story about that. I gotta tell a funny story.
Tell it.
Because real talk, this actually happened with my husband, who was not my husband at the time. This is when we were first started talking and shit. Like, and so he's at my house. He comes to my house. We do the do. You know what I'm saying? He goes home. It's like 1 or 2 in the morning. I don't know what time it was. I was tired. Fuck it. You leaving. You going home. I'm going to sleep. That's it.
Right. I'll be sometime. I want to sleep.
We done, right? So he gone. Then 20 minutes later, the phone's ringing. And I pick it up. I'm sleepy. Like, I don't even fucking hear half of he's saying. He just like, yo, I'm coming over. You know, the fuck? You got some explaining to do? The fuck is going on? You gonna explain this shit? Click. No, as a matter of fact, before he hung up the phone, he said, yeah, I seen your ass on the motherfucking porno. Click. Now, my ass is sleepy, high sleepy. I go back to sleep. I ain't hear half of what he said, but I go back to sleep. And 2 seconds, and then like into my deep sleep, something said, yo, bitch, did you hear what that nigga said? That nigga finna come back over here and cuss your stupid ass out over some fuckery ass tape he think he found of you. And as soon as literally, I always say there's always some crazy chicks running around in my head. And literally one of them chicks stopped smoking and decided to wake me up and say, bitch. And literally, as soon as I woke up, I was like, word? A tape of me? Wait a minute. Fuck you, me. Somebody made a tape of me and I ain't making no money off of it? Wait, hold the fuck on. Wait a minute. What the fuck? Now, first, before I even deal with him, I gotta find out where my money at. Fuck that. Where my money at?
Like you gotta switch it up. Yeah.
Coins. So he shows up now. First of all, to show you how long me and my husband go back, this is a videotape, VHS, not CD, no. Not
Lord.
the CD, you know.
Wait, little tiny cassette you gotta put inside, or like the full
VCR. Oh, yes.
Or it was the big ass one that don't need the adapter.
Long time I talk when Granny must have baby. So yeah, okay. And then so he comes in and you got something special. I was like, nigga, I don't know what the fuck you talking about. Put the tape in, yo. So.
He brought the tape, Tom. He brought the tape?
Yo, he brought the tape with him because apparently the tape was, apparently he got the tape from his cousin. He put it in, and when he got in the house, he popped the tape in, saw my ass on it, and decided to call me and cuss me out, apparently. Allegedly. So he comes over, puts the tape in, and as soon as the tape starts, it's a nigga fucking a chick from the back. And the ass, I'm looking at the ass like, wait, as soon as I see her skin color, she's dark, she was darker than me. So I was like, wait a minute, that bitch darker than me. I don't know. That can't be me. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, what the fuck is this? Okay, so then I went to go hit fast forward. He's like, what you about to fast? I was like, no, I want to hit fast forward so I can see the bitch face because I don't think this is me. Like, nigga, I don't think this is me. So we fast forward to the point where we see homegirl's face, and when I tell you it wasn't me, and then I've had dread since like fucking 90 fucking 2 and shit. You know what I'm saying? And when me and him met was like 97, 98. No, 98. Definitely 99. I smoke weed, so fuck it. Either way, my point is, by the time this nigga, I'm looking at this bitch with braids that ain't me, and I'm like, nigga, this is not me. And he was like, yo, that's not you. Nigga, that's not me. What is wrong with you? That's not, so I literally took the tape out and threw it in the fucking hallway, like, get the fuck out of my house, yo. Throw that shit, get the fuck out. He ran, got the tape, I closed, locked the door. Then he got home and called me. Well, I thought that was, niggas, get the fuck off my phone, click.
Right.
Fuck out of here, because now you done pissed me off. But at this, because I'm like, nigga, you fucking me, you don't know what the fuck
right.
Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
Facts, all of that. You don't know.
You know what I'm saying? And then you came over here with all this heat in your fucking throat. You know what I'm saying? So I got explaining to do. And in my head, and I ain't gonna lie, now, in my head, I'm trying to think, like, which nigga could this be? Like, wait a minute.
Right. Now you have to be like explaining what.
Where's my money? Because I need my coins. I need my coins. Wasn't even me.
That's funny. That's funny.
I had to tell that story.
Man, I just wanted to say something real quick.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about, and I jump everywhere too. So it's like we were talking about compassion, and I just kept thinking about compassion and about compassion for oneself, and how like this, all these like all of this, like, you know, people that we're intrigued by and everything, right? So on that same note, if we're still not, like, I can be so intrigued by everybody, and if I'm not intrigued by myself, then how much am I intrigued by people? You feel me? If our compassion doesn't include ourselves, how complete are we?
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? And I think
that word you just said is so good, because I'm gonna use the word love, and when I use love, it gets even deeper, because it's like, if we don't really love ourselves, when we say I love someone else, how flawed is it? Oof. It's not to say it's not love, but you think about how many holes are in it if that love is not
certainly incomplete.
It's incomplete. I like that word, incomplete. Facts.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
And so I love, yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. One thing I love about Kai, I was at her house one day and I was talking about my stomach. Like, it was so stupid. I can't even believe I said it. And she looked at me and she's like, what the fuck are you talking about? She was almost annoyed at my comment, not because she was trying to be a bitch or nothing, but because she expected more of me. Because when Rue sees other people, I'm always bigging up people. So if it's like, and I had to realize that. And now it's like, I big up myself. You would think that I'm a Leo because I think I'm the shit and no one can tell me shit.
Oh God.
That's the love. That's the self-love that we strive for. And going back to how you discovered in yourself that, hey, maybe this relationship isn't on the frequency that I'm trying to be on. Maybe, you know, and then the fact that you love yourself so much that you've told yourself, okay, I'll be damned if I see myself on that, because you don't see that for yourself. So you do have compassion for yourself. Maybe you just need to have more. I know I need to have more compassion for myself. This one day, I couldn't believe that I didn't have clean clothes. I was like, damn, this is like on some low vibrational shit. Why don't you have clean clothes? Like, and it's like, I was just that.
You just took yourself there, like, oh my God, that was really, really far out. Well, go ahead.
Right. And it's like, damn, like, how much do you not give a shit about yourself, bitch, is what I was telling myself. Like, and so I just say that to say, I'm so grateful that we have such strong women on this podcast, that we're attracting all of these strong and great minds, these influence, these free thinkers, because this is what everybody needs to hear. If you're tuning in, hit up Robin, and please hire her for your next design. Tell her, you know, tell her what your thoughts are. How much would somebody need to pay you, Robin? Let's say I had a little Airbnb, right? Nothing crazy, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 700 square feet, and I didn't have shit in there. How much would you charge me to have that furnished in 30 days?
It depends. 3 levels of services. You have the one where I basically create a plan with you. We can say, hey, you want to go something for like farmhouse industrial. Maybe you want to go modern industrial, mid-century modern, eclectic, chic, bohemian, right? Then we talk about what types of items to put in here. Hey, you need to put a couch just like this. You need to put a couch like this. Here's an overall game plan, floor plan, roadmap for what you should do. Level 2 is, okay, now let me actually pick out 3 options for you. You tell me which couch you need to pick. I'd pick out every single thing that which you would need, give you a list, tell you where to go get it from, or either we set up like a corporate account and I order it on your behalf, it gets shipped to you. Third level would be, I actually physically now, all 3, 1, 2, and 3, and then actually physically go there, install it, make sure I put my hand on it, touch everything, and put everything in place. So it really depends. And it goes on like, I start at $75 an hour, and it just depends upon the levels. Like if I'm the person that's sitting at home and I'm creating mood boards, it's obviously different from the person that has to go to Home Depot, go measure the wall, make sure it comes in, install it or have it installed, and walk through. So there's just different levels to it.
Right.
And I've had to learn how to be an hourly person, but it all goes on to hours of time. I have to think about, okay, if you need to come in and create a plan for you and you're trying to be cost effective, I'm going to say, you know what, it'll probably take about 10 hours to create a plan. Or you can say, Robin, I don't have 10 hours. I can be like, all right, so with 5, here's what I can get you to get you started on your path. You'll have a good idea and I'll send you in the right direction. So it really just depends on what you need, the level, how much involvement. Honestly, understanding what your budget is and how much you have to spend, it could vary. So it varies.
Okay, but what if I was like, oh,
the fact that she was willing to work with people like that, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you're still giving them a price and let them know that the value of what you're giving them is worth that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. So what if I was like, yo, Robin, I only got $2,000. Like, can we do anything with this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think in that case, it really just, so I think with 2,000, I'd definitely be able to create you a plan. And so since your plan for your Airbnb, your design is already done, I'm assuming you've already had a contract and set everything. At that point, it's pure design. I'd come in, develop what your style is and understand what direction we to go in, and pick out the colors. And since it depends where the Airbnb is, if that Airbnb was local, I'd show up and make sure I install it. If not, I'd have it sent to you and make sure that we found a person that had put all the pieces together. Yeah, you can definitely get something going for that. That's actually a good budget. Because you think about, and I'll do the math for you, and this is just for anyone listening, when you think about yourself as a business owner, always understand how much you feel you're worth and how much you'll charge per hour. I know a lot of times I work with people and I'm like, okay, how many hours? I don't know. Stop. Learn how many hours of time you're spending on something, because if you don't, you won't understand your value. Because that's like, we be up 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning working. You don't put 12 hours onto something and you charging somebody. I remember when I used to charge $75 to do logos and I was spending 10 hours on it or more. I'm paying myself $7.50 an hour. That's not even minimum wage. Wait a minute. So anyway, so if I took 2,000, I was just a little point to say, understand how many hours. That's 27 hours. 27 hours. Yes. You're talking about like, that's a good 2-week project. That's definitely enough time to do something. So I was just showing you how I got the math, and then kind of
makes sense.
Always understand where you're at with hours. That's how I've learned how to get into consulting. And I learned that from corporate America. I didn't understand that when I was had my own business, and I was like,
no, but it makes sense though, because like, you know what I'm saying, based on how they pay the pay scale that they give you and what the duties that you have to do per hour, it's like, okay, and if you know what I'm saying, if you were doing it yourself for, you know what I'm saying, as a service, it's like, okay, you would want to maybe get paid that plus a little bit extra for, just because, you know what I mean? So yeah.
And you know what? I'm learning how a task takes hours. And I think this comes with being a project manager too, understanding a task takes hours. You know how sometimes we battle whether I should pay for this or do this myself. Understanding that you're paying for someone to do something for 26 hours and it'd take you 52 with the learning curve. It helps you understand the value really quickly if you want to spend 26 hours for someone else to do it and save 20 of those, because all you got to do is 5 hours working and organizing with them and all that. Or do you want to pay 50 hours of your own time? And so it's like, okay, no, and that's how
with the chance of fucking shut up because you just don't have the training or whatever.
And this is funny. This is because God taught me and my friends talk about each other being bougie. This is how I begin to understand how as I had to how I understood how much my time was worth, Then I started paying people to do things to save me time. I started understanding why people say, somebody could come in and clean my house for me. Nope, somebody's gonna, and even with people who hire nannies, I get it. Because if you can hire a nanny that helps you 8 hours of the day, that gives you back this much, because now 4 hours of your day makes your family $2,000. You know, it starts helping you understand. It's like, nope, I need them 4 hours back so I can make more money. What can I do? Oh, maybe I need to hire a chef because I don't like to get home after working a day for 10 hours and then have to feed myself. You know, it helps you understand a lot of times where to spend money. And I think this is a thing, it's like, as you grow and your income grows, you understand that also your opportunities, and you leverage other things. Yeah, it was weird because, you know, I come from very humble beginnings. So when you hear your friend for the first time, you're like, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to hire a full-time nanny. Then we start saying stuff, that's some white people shit. Got to stop saying that as a Black people.
Absolutely. Absolutely, because you can't do it by yourself. You absolutely can't do it by yourself. And yes, after working, whether you're working for yourself or you're working for in corporate America, working 8 hours, you're not going to want to. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to want to come home and make something for yourself. So yes, so the same thing about, you know, stopping. And you know, stopping at a restaurant and picking up a meal or something like that is the same thing. It is basically the same thing. You hiring somebody to cook your meal. So why not have somebody, and especially with the kids, please stop playing, to have a dependable person that will pick up the children from wherever the hell they need to do. If an emergency happens and you can still go on with your life, and you know that person got it, that's a lifesaver. That's definitely a lifesaver and a money saver.
I have a friend who has a driver. She's got 4 kids, and it was there was a point where at one point all 4 of the kids were in 4 different schools. It was just like maybe 1 or 2 years where the high schooler, junior high, elementary, pre-K, kindergarten, you know, type of thing. It was just like, oh no, they did it. And it made sense, because do you know what time you have to leave your house? You know, let's say you're working at home, or you're in between the point where you're taking care of the kids, or it's a day off. You know what time you got to leave the house to drop off 4 people? And pick them up. What? So you leaving the house at like 1:30 to pick up the first one, to go here to get this one, and it just
I know it.
I'm just like, you need to hire they hired somebody that made.
I know it.
Sense. I mean, it's easier to come home and you be like, oh, snacks already, you know, you're not exhausted, now you can put all attention into helping with homework. Yeah, I started to understand, you know, how to use services to leverage your time. And, you know, society sometimes, especially being a Black person, you know, people are quick to call you bougie, you know, and I abhor that term, because it makes me feel like someone's calling me an Uncle Tom, because bougie arrives from the whole term bourgeoisie, and that whole concept came for people calling Black people that, you know, did things that assimilated to white people uppity or something like that. And so I get a little bit offended by it, because it's like, so I like nice plates, so I don't like to eat off of styrofoam plates. I can't have a plate. Well, so what, you know? Or I can't have something nice. And so if I have something nice, or okay, so I like to travel like this, or I'm really funny about hotels. Yeah, there are certain places I stay in, because I used to be a travel consultant, so I had to live in hotels. And so because of that, you understand what it means to go somewhere and it feel at ease and peaceful. So I don't ever like to experience that no more, because I've had bad hotel experiences. So it's like, yeah, I stay only certain places. I don't want to disrupt my peace. I want to go somewhere, I have to get off a plane and relax. I don't want to have to be changing rooms and being worried and seeing things. And so, but
okay, that makes sense.
I've learned that's just learning how, you know, be okay with the Black person that's making more money, earning more money, and learning how to handle money better, respect it and leverage it. You know, it's being seen as bougie and uppity. And I'm just like, I have friends who call me that, and I only about go off on them, because I'm like, chill out. And they be like, oh, you know, you doing that. Is there maybe something wrong with you that you think that you can? Like, come on here. you know, let's normalize having nice things. And
I heard that.
Yeah,
Normalize luxury,
exactly.
wealth, comfort,
yes.
and ease. Why
Like,
not?
yes.
Not gonna lie, you kind of making me feel bad about making fun of my husband because I call him bougie all the time.
I'm calling him that. He told me to tell you stop.
He just like to find a thing. He
I'm
like you, don't he? He like you, don't he?
Like, you know, so sometimes he just be saying, like, literally, like for instance, I gotta tell you, even Rue is gonna laugh at this. Rue, when I told him about because first of all, this summer, where the New York representative of Motherhood Sex Marijuana is going to a cannabis yacht party.
Ooh, right? Yes, honey.
And so
represent.
So I'm taking my husband with me. And of course, when I told him about it, the first thing he said, well, what does the yacht look like? Is it really a yacht? because they won't tell you until yacht when it's a little. No, let me pull up.
I love it.
Google. No.
I love it. It's a viable question.
I
gotta know which yacht we on.
That no, is I would ask that.
When he said that,
I want to be like, is it really a lie?
I was like, listen, Mr. Bougie. Listen.
He wants to verify that he's on a yacht and not.
That man did nothing wrong, Queen.
He was just trying to make sure. Let me see the pictures. I'm the same way. I've been on, because you know, you go on trips with friends and he's like, oh, we getting on a yacht. He wasn't a yacht. You know, I've been on some things that were called yachts. And I was like, you gotta ask now, like.
Yachts are they're relative at this point.
But yes,
oh my God, that's so funny.
Yes, you know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Listen, you know what I mean? And and literally he is of that, you know, that thought that no, yes, I must have the best. Everything must be the best. And yes, when I told him about this party, literally the first thing he said, no, show me a picture of this yacht.
I fucking love it, dude. This show is. Robin, what type of weed would you recommend somebody smoke that needs to stay very cerebral and kind of focused throughout the day?
Sativa.
Okay. Any particular strain that you like?
No, I haven't had anyone that's bad, and so I live in a state that is non-recreational or medicinal. So when I've had the opportunity to travel and certain places, I haven't had one that's bad or one that was like, oof, I don't like that one. They all have worked. They all have worked well. Now I'm gonna tell you something. Depending upon the time, I really do fucks with a hybrid. Like I do like the hybrid. It gives me the cerebral, but it also, I don't know how to explain it. It does heighten my creativity just a little bit because I think I can work through sativa, but on the hybrid opens me completely up. You know, that's when I start I talk to my friends, they laugh at me because every time I get really, really high, they be like, man, you create movies. And so I have this thing going now. When I get really, really high, I create a whole movie script in my head.
Nice.
Nah, damn, that's a good problem to have.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, so yeah, I definitely stay real because I don't like to be slumped. I don't like to be slumped. I don't. Is because I want to be able to enjoy a high and be able to move around and you know still go skiing on the high. I don't want to be slumped over and slurring and.
Oh wow, we ski. Awesome.
Yeah, because as you can see, I'm a lively person. So even if I'm chill, my sense is heightened. I told one of my friends, he was like, yo, you bugging. Everybody get like that. I was like, nah, you don't understand. But when I'm high, I was like, I feel like the world opens up. Like it becomes 4D. It's like, I really feel like I'm in a movie sometimes, and I think I'm crazy. It's like I can almost see things and they almost kind of come apart and like rotate sometimes. It looks really weird. And my friend was like, I get that. I was like, nah. And then I explained to him, he was like, you know what, that is different. And I think that's the gift that God gave me, kind of like I see things where it's like, oh, I get it, boom. Then it kind of comes back together. I do see shit like that when I get really high. So I like a good hybrid for that.
I love it.
But wait,
you should get like.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Where you live at?
If I tell you that, I gotta kill you.
Oh shit.
She hiding out. She on her CIA shit.
I'm not trying to die right now. I'm not die right now. Things.
I'm a little bit of everywhere.
I mean, husband expect me to live on things. I don't know. But,
yeah.
No, I was just asking because I was just like, yo, if you in New York, you know what I'm saying? I was just wondering, have you tried any of the dispensaries that have opened in New York?
1 second, let's not brush over that. Like, I'm from New York. You know what I'm saying? This Yankee jersey is
I see that.
Good. Like, now this is on.
I was just trying to find out if if you had tried, Weed World or indoor, anybody else.
I was born and raised in New York, right? So I lived there for a good more than half my life, right? And so it's funny. So I came out of North New York, and then I moved to another state for college, almost said where I went to college at, right? And then after college, I decided to settle in another particular place. And I'm gonna tell you something, I was not a part of this whole gentrification of New York, not just the places. New York is different. I was there when they legalized weed. And I mean, it was the weirdest thing I had ever seen, because you remember, I grew up a little bit in like the crack era, so I knew what it was.
Girl, me too.
Girl,
me too. Again, I used to buy weed in the basement.
Right, like people had to smoke in stairwells, like. But now to be on the streets of New York and you get out the subway and see somebody on some, hold up, boom, boom.
Yeah.
You like
not even get out. You ain't even got to get out the subway. Weird. That should be on the train. That should be on the platform.
Now I've never. You can smoke weed in the streets, which is it blows my mind. So saying that about this, I'm not part of this New York where we could they got dispensaries. So I haven't tried any because this is new. I seen the weed trucks over by 42nd Street selling stuff and the everythings, and I was like, it's nice. What is
girl?
This?
Let me tell you.
I love
experience for me.
Those weed trucks are connected to the store called Weed World. Now, I've been talking to the people in there because apparently the two stores that I'm talking about, Weed World and Indoor Cannabis, they only got 6 strains in the store, and most of them are either half and half. You know what I'm saying? A couple of hybrids maybe, but you know what I'm saying? But they keep just a number of 6. And I'm gonna definitely figure out why. You feel me? Because
is Weed World out of Alabama?
Trying to figure it out.
Is Weed World out of Alabama or Atlanta?
I don't even know where they are.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but all I know is that apparently they got like at least I think they got like 3 locations.
So I was in Times Square in the truck because I had started seeing them every other.
They got the trucks too, though.
On the corners, I was like, "This is new. Oh, well, you different." And so, the second day I saw one of the girls, and I was like, "Oh," so I started chopping it up with her because I was with a friend, so they were doing some stuff. And I was like, "Yo, why is the number on this truck an Atlanta number?" And they was like, "Oh, that's a part of the franchise." And then she was like, "Oddly enough, they're out of Alabama. I don't know how they got this franchise started. And they're not even legalized weed." My mind started like fighting because I was like, wait, pause. How did they do that?
How are they getting away with that?
But wait a minute.
You know what?
Who is franchising weed trucks? I need in on that because that's fucking genius.
It's genius.
Something.
It's a loophole.
And these trucks are parked. It's at least 4 of them parked between 35th and 49th.
But all of the people on the truck are independent owners. That's their truck. They own it. They do what they want. They move around. Some be here, some drive around. They all have the same number on them. But I kept on seeing different people, different color trucks. Coming out, you franchise it. You basically buy a truck, you wrap it and do whatever you want to do, and you keep it and you move around that truck. You do it. I said, oh,
pretty much.
Wow.
What a loophole. And you know what? I don't know if you guys exactly. And weed RVs, that's definitely needed. And did you guys hear that with the permits that are coming to New York, they're actually giving priority to those with records?
With weed
Did y'all
records.
hear that? Yeah.
With weed records.
With read records. Yes.
I'm not mad. You know what? You know what that is?
That's amazing.
I'm gonna tell you what that is. Oh man, what's the word? That's reparations.
Right.
Reparations. That's what that is. It's reparations. Like, okay, yeah, we
fucked up
this, and we now sell it. So let us let you make you first, because we want you to get you some money back. Oh, and then peep this. So here's the whole big brother little like I'm reaching here, right? But peep how, of course, they let the people that had weed records, because obviously you was making money. And so now that we've legalized this for the state,
we can tax your ass.
Right, because I know you're gonna make me some money.
Because I know you're gonna make me some money.
So maybe it's not even about reparations. Maybe it's more about, oh, if we can guarantee if we let these folks out that we definitely gonna bring in $4 million tax.
Yeah. Again, because cannabis is big industry coming
big dollars.
And because my girl Ruby here, and working at a weed store in Seattle, she done got us some content. She done got us some contacts to new people coming into New York City called Trap City.
I'm gonna come and smoke both of y'all
in this summer called Trap City Cannabis.
Yes, Trap City Cannabis. We're speaking to them next week. Shout out. It's all about connections, y'all. And I don't think we got nasty enough, but we can always do that some more. But Robin, what would somebody have to cook for you to show you that they were very intrigued by you?
Anything that I eat. See, I'm telling all the secrets. I am very easy to please. One of my love languages is acts of service. And so if you are paying attention enough to me to understand just one or two things that I eat and take the time to cook for it, it don't even matter what it is, I'm eating it. Because I love to cook for people, so I know what that means. And so it's like, it could be like one of my homegirls the other day, she just out the blue was like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna cook you some waffles and some bacon and eggs. I just was so all emotional on the inside, because I was like, well, you just did that for me. I didn't care. I didn't need no shrimp frittata. Like, no, all that. I don't need that. So I think anything, but I'm thinking like, if a man trying to steal my heart and set it off right, I'm gonna tell you what it is. Lasagna. Lasagna.
Okay.
Lasagna or a really good bacon cheeseburger. Both of those.
Ooh.
My two.
Oh Lord, wait a minute, because you talking about
they hit a good spot. Like, my mom cooked lasagna for me growing up, and me and my dad, we both love bacon cheeseburgers, and we'd always get cheeseburgers. That was our thing. So you come back with one of that, I mean, I have problems now. I mean, I'm problems.
Wow. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the pork. Yes, so I feel you. I hear you though. I'm not a fan of the pork. Yeah, I'm just like, wait a minute.
You know what's funny? Bacon is the only thing I eat. Bacon is. I got a hard time with the bacon. If you can figure out how to get that same bacon flavor in, because I eat turkey bacon too, but if you can get the same flavor into turkey bacon or chicken bacon or whatever bacon, I'd be fine. Bacon and texture is texture too. Like,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's definitely texture.
I'm just saying, turkey bacon and beef bacon are my. I go in between, but it all depends on, because New York got some. That's one of the things I love about New York. New York got some straight up people that will put a sign in front of their store like, no pork is sold here, and you know what I'm saying. So and therefore everything is safe. You know what I mean? I love that. You know what I mean? But yo, ladies, real talk, we literally got a minute and 50 left. So,
thank you so much, Robin.
And I tell you, this was a great motherfucking time.
Ladies. Y'all freaking rock to me, man.
Thank you so much.
Shit, girl, you gotta subscribe to our channel and shit. And
I got y'all all day. You know what I mean? Whole day, and share.
Because this episode is because we drop episodes every week now. So this episode is
like Sunday on church.
In a couple of weeks. But subscribe to make sure you catch every one of them, because you know every one of them is.
I got you.
And fuck the friend.
And I'm gonna share the word, because you know what's interesting in the last like 30 seconds is I realized one day that I attract the people that I am, and even better. And I think I turned around maybe about 5-6 years ago and really looked around. I was like, yo, I got dope ass friends that legitimately are doing things in life. And so as dope as I am, I have friends that are way better. So they're Black women too that are doing their thing that would be really great. So I'll also continue to share and just grow the network. Grow the
do that, yo. Absolutely, because we need that. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And on that note, we gotta end it up because Zoom about to cut us off. Motherhood Sex Now one in the building.
Thank you,
Robin.
Thank you,
Robin. All right.